How often do you have employees that you just think, I can't get them to care? The reason people don't care about their jobs is that they don't actually see the consequences of the things that they do. If you look, for example, at probably what we consider one of the more mundane jobs are going around is a cashier in a supermarket. You know, you've got that beep, beep, beep scanning thing going all day long. How do you get someone like that to care? Well, the way you get them to care is to help them understand that the things they do have consequences. Everything every person does on the planet has a consequence. The consequences are either intentional, that is, you know if you do something that something is going to happen as a result of it. It could be that there are unintended consequences in that you don't know that something's going to happen after you've done something. But then you can also care and not care. You might not care about any of the consequences, and you may care very much about the consequences of your actions. So you've got this 2x2 matrix going on, and I do love my 2x2 matrices. So let's look at the first one. Let's say you know the consequences of what you're going to do, and you also care. So I care about my job. I care about the fact that I'm helping someone, even if it's something like at a cashier. I know that I might be able to make their day a little bit brighter. I know that I might be able to just make their experience that little bit better. I care and I know that I can do something and I'm going to have this consequence on that person. The other alternative is that you care, but the consequence is not what you thought, it's unintentional. So this is the realm of accidents. You may want to put someone in a good frame of mind, but all you've managed to do is make them miserable. Now that can happen as well. Or you've gone to help someone and you've spoken to them that little bit longer and they walk out of the car park and they get run over by a shopping trolley and they break a leg. I mean, things can happen as a result of your just speaking to someone that little bit longer, a little bit shorter, just by virtue of you having an interaction with someone. So there can be accidents, unintended consequences that occur. The third one is if you don't care and there are intentional consequences. So this is a case of amorality, where you don't really care about the consequences on other people. So this is where you might actually take some change off someone that belong to them. You might double charge them at the cashier. You could do all sorts of things that you really don't care about the consequences on that person. But know this, what you do does have consequences. You might get caught out down the track. You might not get caught out the track. I don't know, but you know. What's important is you know the consequence on that other person. The fourth one is that you don't care and there are unintended consequences. So this is the world of recklessness. This is the world of on the cashier, twirling hair and just not giving a stuff about anything. Your flicking through that transaction might just make that person that little bit more miserable that day. It could be, and this is horrific, it could be that you just make that person that little bit more miserable and then they go home and they pop an extra drug and they overdose, or they do something terrible to themselves, or they go home and they kick the dog, or whatever it is. But you're not giving a damn consequence, you're not giving a damn attitude can have a serious effect on how that person goes about the rest of their day. So the message here is that although you may or may not care, and although you may or may not know the consequences, everything you do at every point in your life, whether it's cutting someone off in traffic, whether it's leaving work that fraction of a second earlier or that fraction of a second later, it's going to have consequence rippling through the whole universe, and it's going to affect everyone everywhere. I'm not saying you have to know all the consequences. I'm just suggesting that it might be a good idea to care a little bit more and acknowledge it, and that perhaps the reason your staff don't seem to care is that they don't seem to understand the consequences of all their actions. I'm Stephen DiPietro. Thanks again for tuning in.